So good afternoon. Welcome to our incident briefing this afternoon. Thank you for coming. My name is Captain Dave Zanaboni, Public Information Officer, Santa Barbara County Fire Department. I'd like to introduce Billy C. He's the incident commander of the incident with CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3.
Good afternoon. My name is Billy C., Incident Commander of CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3. My team's been tasked to provide operational oversight and logistical support to the responders working to perform the search and rescue operations, including the stabilization of the incident area, which encompasses 30 square miles. Team 3 will remain committed to support the needs of our partners and neighbors in the Santa Barbara County area. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like to bring up Jeff O's. He's the Operations Chief for the CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3.
Good afternoon. Currently we have 1,569 personnel assigned to the incident, 150 engine companies, 12 hand crews, 10 helicopters, 6 bulldozers and other specialized equipment, along with specialized rescue teams including urban search and rescue and swift water rescue and canine teams. We are currently operating with a 24-hour operational period. We still are in rescue mode. We are conducting primary and secondary searches and victim removal.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like to introduce Sheriff Bill Brown, Santa Barbara County.
Thank you. Good evening. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, the Sheriff's Office released the names of the 17 victims who perished as a result of this flood incident on January 9th in Montecito. All of the victims are from Montecito, and they range in age from as young as 3 years to a high of 89 years. There are 4 juveniles on the list. There are mothers, fathers, grandfathers, siblings, and the list goes on and on. This was a very sad and tragic announcement for us to make, and we want to take a moment to read each of the names of those victims who lost their lives. Jonathan Benitez, 10 years old. Kaylee Benitez, 3 years old. Martin Cabrera Munoz, 48 years old. David Canton, 49 years old. Sawyer Corey, 12 years old. Peter Fleuret, 73 years old. Josephine Gower, 69 years old. John McManigal, 61 years old. Alice Mitchell, 78 years old. James Mitchell, 89 years old. Mark Montgomery, 54 years old. Caroline Montgomery, 22 years old. Marilyn Ramos, 27 years old. Rebecca Riskin, 61 years old. Roy Roeder, 84 years old. Parawat Sutipen, 6 years old. And Richard Taylor, 67 years old. The Sheriff's Office wants to express our heartfelt sadness and condolences to the family and friends of all of those who lost loved ones. We request that everyone respect their privacy during this most difficult time, but we know that our community and that people from across the world are also heartbroken for these families and care very deeply for them. We ask that you keep them in your constant thoughts and prayers in the days to come. I now want to address the number of people who have been reported missing. This number fluctuates significantly as we obtain names of people coming in from different sources, and we're able to eliminate them from lists and consolidate them onto other lists. These sources include calls coming into our dispatch center. We're even taking names off of social media posts and message boards that are at the evacuation shelter and elsewhere. We appreciate your understanding, as this is a constantly changing list. And at this point, we're saddened to say that our consolidated list shows that there are 43 people now who may be considered as missing. It doesn't mean that they are all actively missing, but there are 43 people that we are now taking a look into and actively investigating to determine whether or not they are. This remains a very active search and rescue mission, as you heard. We have law, fire, and search and rescue crews from across 4 counties who are continuing to search for survivors and to evacuate people from this area. And critical to this mission is the use of our aviation resources and all-terrain vehicles that are able to reach areas and rescue people that we would not normally be able to get to. There are many stories, unfortunately too numerous to mention at the moment, but we have had a number of significant rescues and a number of rescues today thanks to the use of teams utilizing these off-road vehicles. The last thing I'd like to address is the need to expand our current mandatory evacuation area. Today, auto and pedestrian traffic in the exclusionary zone, which is at the southern or the lower end of the area that we are involved in right now, has reached a point that it is seriously impacting the ability of search and rescue, public works, other first responders, and repair crews to clear roadways and to engage in search and rescue, repair, and damage assessment operations. This problem is coming to a head with the addition today, or the anticipated arrival, I should say, of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, who are coming in to assist in this operation in response with heavy vehicles and equipment and involving assistance in clearing drainages and what have you. As a result of this expected increase and as a result of the ongoing problem with clearance in these operations, it has become necessary for us to close the area that we previously had designated as a public safety exclusion zone and convert it to a mandatory evacuation area. That is going to take effect at 6 p.m. And what this means is that we are asking everybody who is in that area, lives in that area, to leave. We are asking people to recognize that if you're in an adjacent area and a warning area, you should consider leaving also. This entire area is a very active rescue and recovery and repair zone right now, and it's important that we give our crews the ability to get in there and access these areas and do what they need to do without interference. If anyone needs assistance in leaving, you can contact the Sheriff's Office, or you can go on the County of Santa Barbara's website and let us know that, and we will provide you with assistance. People are encouraged to leave the area. People who do leave the area will not be permitted to return back until we have established that we no longer need to have that area as a mandatory evacuation area. The Incident Command is currently developing a protocol to accommodate animals that have to be left in the area that can't be taken with you. If you can take your pets with you, we encourage you to do that. But we know that there are certain types of animals that are in that area that can't be easily moved out, and we are making arrangements with animal services to arrange for regular feedings of those animals. We also are available for anyone who has access or functional needs who may require any special assistance as well. And we know that this is a terribly inconvenient development, but it is also incredibly necessary. And we ask you to please cooperate with this mandatory evacuation order. And we ask everybody in Santa Barbara County who may not be impacted directly by this order to also step up and to assist us with this as well, and assist the people who are going to be impacted by this as well, by opening up your hearts and opening up your homes to those friends that you may have that live in the Montecito area. I ask you to please get in touch with them and invite them to come and stay with you. We are anticipating that this will be in effect for at least a week. I would recommend that you actually prepare for as many as 2 weeks. And we certainly hope that it will be less than that. But the sooner we can get the resources in there that need to be in there to assess and repair damage, in addition to the current rescue operation that is underway, the sooner we are going to be able to get things back to normal. As you've heard or will hear reinforced again today, there are many, if not most, of the Montecito residents who have no or limited utilities. And there are some concerns about health issues as well. So we ask that all of you recognize that this situation is one that we really need your cooperation on now as we expand this mandatory evacuation area to now include what was the previously identified public safety exclusion zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'd like to introduce Captain Cindy Ponce, California Highway Patrol.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. The 101 is still closed northbound at the 150 and southbound at Milpas. Caltrans is working diligently to try to get the northbound side opened up a little farther north to allow access to the Summerlin area. And as soon as it's safe to do that, we will do that. However, the 101 will remain closed on both sides until Monday. And I want to echo what the sheriff said about staying out of this mandatory evacuation zone. We've had a lot of pedestrian traffic, people on bicycles. We understand that you're curious. However, you being in this area is impeding the work of the cleanup crews and the rescue efforts. And the longer that has to take place, the longer we have to keep the area closed. We really want to thank all of our allied agencies that have been working so hard on this incident. You can rest assured that the leaders that you have in this county are amazing, and they are doing everything they can, working well together as a team to get this cleaned up as quickly as possible and this rescue mission done as quickly as possible. And our hearts just go out to the families of all those who've lost their lives that the sheriff read today, and we lift them in our prayers, and we ask that you do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. I'd like to introduce Tom Farum. He's the Deputy Director of the Santa Barbara County Public Works.
Good afternoon. I had the opportunity today to go out to the field and start to inspect some of our drainage facilities, in particular our debris basins. I would note that we are making progress every day on opening up the transportation network that will allow increased relief efforts. Our transportation and flood control crews are working diligently to open up bridges and channels. In many cases, the entire creek flow is going out of the channel and onto US 101, and until we get that resolved, it will be difficult to open that freeway, so that is one of our #1 priorities. I would note that on Monday morning, we had 2 portable hydro cranes pre-staged in Santa Barbara for contingencies. That equipment went to work immediately on Tuesday. That equipment continues to work today, along with numerous other equipment that we're calling in almost on an hourly basis. As Sheriff Brown said, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we met with them earlier today and were able to go to several debris basins. What I saw at those debris basins was amazing, the amount of material that was trapped there. I would note that we finished cleaning these debris basins last Friday, less than a week ago, in anticipation for the winter. These basins are absolutely chock full with material that would have otherwise gone downstream and caused even more damage. The Corps of Engineers is now, their boots on the ground in Santa Barbara, and they're going to be preparing to start work as soon as tomorrow. I want to thank Sheriff Brown and law enforcement for the closures that we talked. We are going to have a lot of equipment in there. We have to move fast. The Corps of Engineers will be working 24 hours a day. There'll be multiple dump trucks running throughout the area, and the faster we can get this work done, the faster we can get things opened up and be prepared for more rain. I think that's all I have for right now.
Thank you, Tom. I'd like to introduce Suzanne Grimacy. She's with the Santa Barbara County Family Assistance Center.
Good afternoon. The Family Assistance Center continues to welcome individuals and families who are seeking information on the location of loved ones impacted by the storm. Counseling staff are continuing to provide follow-up support to those having received the shattering news of the death of family members, in some cases, multiple family members. The center is open until 8 p.m. tonight and will be open through 8 p.m. tomorrow night. People can also call the center at a toll-free number, 833-688-5551. With the information being released on deaths and suspected deaths and the increase in those missing, there has been more and more dialogue within the schools and among parents about how to talk to children and how we take care of ourselves. The emotional impact of this event can expect to last for a long time. Adults and children who have been exposed to prolonged stress and tremendous loss. Children have witnessed confident parents and caregivers experiencing extreme anxiety and fear. Children and adults have experienced the horror of seeing severely injured people and bodies, either in person or through the television. Emotional exhaustion and physical wear and tear is present throughout our community, from those directly impacted to our first responders and others still trying to make sense of what is happening in our community. Parents, caregivers, spend time with and talk to your children. Maintain routines. Limit media exposure. Answer questions briefly and honestly, and ask children for their thoughts and ideas about what is happening. This connection helps children to feel safe and calm. And for everyone, continue to take care of yourself. Take good physical care, eat well, sleep well as best you can, get exercise, talk to, listen to, and take care of each other. 211 remains available for the community to call for information, as well as the storm information line at 805-681-5542. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'd like to introduce Nick Turner. He's with the Montecito Water District.
Good afternoon. It's been a challenging but productive day for the Montecito Water District. The Kachuma Operations and Maintenance Board has confirmed that the South Coast Conduit is intact, which is the district's main artery for getting water from Lake Kachuma to Montecito. The South Coast Conduit is currently holding pressure and is conveying water to Ortega Reservoir, and this is great news for us. Water service throughout the district is limited. Generally, water is available at low pressure below East Valley Road. Other areas have no water at all. Having said that, the boil water notice remains in effect for the entire district. With the help of the county, which has been clearing roads, we are gaining access to more of our water system, but some portions remain inaccessible at this time. We have many water main breaks and missing fire hydrants that were seared off by debris flows. We have completed our assessment of our highline transmission main and have found additional breaks. We have crews dedicated to each main break in an effort to make the repairs as quickly as possible. With the support of City of Santa Barbara staff, we are turning off water meters to damaged properties to prevent additional water loss and to prevent water from hampering the cleanup effort. We have crews replacing the missing fire hydrants. Once we complete the repairs and the system can hold pressure, we will begin to bring the system back online. Although this progress is being made, it still remains uncertain as to when water service will be fully restored to the community. I know this is a stressful time for all of us, but we are receiving a tremendous amount of support from our neighboring public agencies and local contractors. We ask for the community's patience. We are working hard to reestablish water service to the area, but this will take time. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to introduce Vondo Reynoso, excuse me. She's the director of the Santa Barbara County Public Health Department.
Effective immediately, the Santa Barbara County Health Officer has closed all county beach ocean waters from Gaviota south to the county line for people to enter the water, and we make this decision based upon our results that the levels of bacteria highly exceed standard levels. So this order includes the following beaches: Gaviota, Refugio, El Capitan, Sands at Coal Oil Point, Goleta State Beach, Hope Ranch, Arroyo Burro, Leadbetter, East Beach at Mission, East Beach at Sycamore, Butterfly, Hammonds, Summerlin, and Carpinteria State Beach. So all ocean water should be considered as contaminated until further notice. We are conducting further testing, and we plan to test again on Friday. Additionally, we know we have reports from the California Office of Emergency Services that there are hazardous materials washing up on the beaches. And so we urge the public not to pick up fruit, debris, or chemical containers such as gas cans, propane canisters, or pesticides found on the beach or in the water due to possible sewage contamination or chemical contaminants. The public can report fuel containers, pesticides, and other containers by calling 805-681-5538. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll open it up to questions now.
What criteria are you using to determine who's missing, the numbers are missing? How do you account for the wide swing in the disparity?
So the question was the criteria to determine how many and who was missing. Sheriff Brown?
Thank you. The number that I gave you, 43, was an inclusive number that includes those who we have active missing person case files, investigations going on, and it also includes a number of other reportings from people who have called either the Emergency Operations Center or the Family Assistance Center and have indicated that they have not been able to get in contact with someone, or there's a belief that they may be missing. So they range from people that are considered to be actively missing to people have just not been able to get into contact with. We are in the process of collating all of that information, checking addresses where people lived, their proximity to other areas where we know that we have had people who are actually sustained became fatal casualties as a result of it. We're also looking at people who may have left the area and there may be a peripheral relationship to them, but they're not necessarily a close family or a neighbor, but they just haven't been able to get in touch with them. So we have detectives who are taking this information and correlating it and constantly refining it and assessing it. And it varied widely in terms of the numbers. And at this point, as I said, the latest information that I had was that we had 43 names, and that can continue to fluctuate. To give you an example, we had yesterday when we reported that we had 17 missing persons. Those were 17 people who we had active missing person reports and investigations on. And a number of those were actually cleared as a result of the identification of some of those people who were on that list that were killed in this incident. So again, I know it sounds like it's a constantly moving number. There hasn't been a sound definition of what constitutes a missing person, and we really don't want to to put one on there. We want people to report to us if they think someone's missing, and we wanted to get all the information that we can that can assist us and that can also assist search and rescue crews as they go out into that area and as they start to do they're winding up really their preliminary assessments. They're going to be now doing secondary and triple assessments of locations of structures in the area, and we want them to have this information as well so that they can really determine whether or not someone's either in a wrecked home or in proximity to it.
Is it safe to assume that there will not be 43 additional casualties now?
Well, we certainly hope there are going to be far fewer than that. We hope there's not going to be any more, but realistically, we suspect that we are going to continue to have discovery of people who were killed in this incident. But I just can't answer that in terms of the numbers. We've certainly, the experience that we've had has shown that all of those people who are reported by whatever methodology as missing, they have not all been missing. In fact, every day we've had the ability to determine that people are in fact either safe or they moved out of the area, they were in the hospital or treated for an injury, those types of things. Okay.
How close are you to shifting from rescue to recovery?
Well, the incident command has determined that I think the goal was to try to get all of the preliminary assessments of all structures done by today. And I'm not sure if that's completed or if it will be done early tomorrow. Then the process is that we begin a secondary search of those locations. And we're going to continue in that mode, looking at those structures a second time to determine if there's any possibility that someone could still be alive. And you know, in disaster circumstances, there have been many miraculous stories of people lasting many days, and we certainly are searching for a miracle right now.
And then a question about the evacuation areas. The new mandatory area, does that include areas that previously were voluntary?
Yes, it does. The question is, does the new mandatory evacuation area include areas previously in the voluntary area? And it absolutely does. It's primarily consists of that. In other words, and what I didn't do is I didn't give you, I know that the media has the boundaries already and has reported this, but I'll just give this information out again, that you can roughly figure what this area is by the boundaries being the ocean to the south, by Hot Springs Road to the west, by the U.S. forest to the north, so anything above the structures that are up above that area. And then on the east, it's a little more complicated. It is Ortega Ridge going up to, or going down, I guess, to East Valley Road, and then Ladera branching off from that. So it's Ladera and Ortega as they run into East Valley. And those are the approximate boundaries of this particular area. And we'll be, as I say, putting that into effect at 6 o'clock tonight. We want to give at least some notice to people so that they can do that. But if you're in that area, again, we ask that you please evacuate that area as soon as possible.
Are you able to provide an update on the Forest Sisters?
Well, I don't think we're providing any update on any specific individuals this time. Any other questions?
You said there was an active dramatic rescue today. Can you talk about what happened there?
I can't talk about any specific rescues. I don't believe anybody in the panel here can. There was some rescues. I don't know the specifics. The question is how many Army Corps of Engineers are going to be in place?
So at this time, the Army Corps of Engineers, obviously they'll be moving staff in, but this work will be done by contract. Currently 100 plus vehicles will be moving in. Once that work gets initiated, I expect that number to grow.
Okay, just a couple more questions.
Another preliminary assessment still going on, but can you give us a general sense of where the worst of the damage or if there's a concentration of the fatalities
No, I can answer that. And there's not one general area. It's spread out throughout the affected areas, and there's not one, area that's worse than others. It's all pretty much the entire area that's been affected is where we've had, both rescues and the fatalities. And one. Sheriff, can you speak on the other evacuation areas?
All of the areas that are still in mandatory are being evaluated, and we hope to have some information tomorrow about some of the adjacent areas. But this really was the word. We're trying to get the word out that we're actually expanding in the direct Montecito area today.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the question was, there was an article today in the media that indicated that a text message did not go out until 3:50 something a.m., which was sort of in the midst of the downpour, the active period of time that the rain was really falling and this event was beginning. And I think it's a shame, because it really takes away from the fact that there were extraordinary efforts made to warn our community about this problem. A team of experts consulted with our emergency managers in Santa Barbara County, and they predicted, as it turns out, predicted very accurately, that there was a very strong likelihood that there was going to be a major event that was going to take place. And as a result of that, there was a press conference that was held to get the warning out to the public. There were letters and notifications that went out, and a variety of different notifications through a variety of different electronic media as well. The system in question is the WIA system, which is the federal system, which is really to be used to actively notify someone of an active incident that's occurring, whether that's a fire, whether that's an active shooter, whether that's, in this case, a flood event. And it was activated at the appropriate time during when actually an event was occurring. But it's important to note that there were many warnings that were issued in advance of that particular warning as well. And I know there's always a tendency to want to look and to evaluate all of this as an incident is ongoing. But I would say to you that we are really looking forward at this point to try to manage this incident as well as possible. And there will be an appropriate time when everything will be assessed and we will take a look at what happened. But now is really not the appropriate time to do that. But I do want people to be assured that, and by the way, that article was amended today after it was issued. So just wanted to try to clarify that. The WIA system. No, it's a system. It came, the utilization of it came from the county, but it's a nationwide system. Okay.
Okay, that's going to conclude today's press conference. Tomorrow, 4 p.m., we'll meet same place for a press conference, same location. 4 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you.